Hello and welcome. I'm Lori Balderas and I'm so happy you're here. Well, I have a beautiful guest sitting next to me and look how we're color coordinated in Fresh Catholic red. We didn't even plan this. We're in total sync. This is my guest, Teresa Nelson. Thank you for coming, Teresa. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm honored to be.
I kind of hijacked you at church one day and I said, can you be a guest on my podcast? I feel like that was only a week ago, but here she is.
Yep.
So what a good sport you are.
I think it was less than a week though.
Okay, less than a week. I mean, I'm always out there. I'm always out there working it. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Just a little tidbit before we head into our interview here, but Teresa is our new director of family faith formation at Our Lady of the Assumption Church, my parish, in Ventura, California, along with Carolyn Curtis, who's one of our prior guests who will be coming on the show next week. So Teresa covers 1st to 5th grade and Carolyn covers middle school and high school. We are so lucky we have this new great team at our church. And I wanted Teresa and Carolyn to come and talk to us about what's entailed in these two programs. So before we get to you, and also, we will be discussing today your job, your experience with the Family Faith Formation Program, and an overview of what people can expect from the program. So I think this is going to be a very valuable episode because I personally have never had a child go through the family faith formation process or religious ed process. So it just got me to thinking that there's probably a lot of people that don't know what it entails. And so that's why Teresa's here today and Carolyn will be coming next week. So hang on, sit there looking beautiful like you are. So with my podcast, we know, I'm pretty sure you all know you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all the major platforms. But now we're on YouTube. So this is very exciting. And now you can watch us in action. Maybe you just want to hear us. That's fine too. But you can watch us on YouTube. But what would be great is if you would subscribe to YouTube. It doesn't cost you a single penny. You just click subscribe, click that little bell, and there will be alerts that will tell you when there's a new Fresh Catholic podcast episode. How easy is that? So check that out, please, and share with your family and friends. Now, that being said, now that we're on YouTube, there's going to be a little more reality in these episodes. There's going to be some flubs. There's going to be some mistakes. You're going to see me moving my hair out of the way. That is life and showbiz, baby. So just bear with us on that, and I think you're going to enjoy the YouTube versions. Now, if you would like to go to our website, which I hope you do, we have so much going on over there. We have an online store with exclusive Fresh Catholic merchandise. We have coffee for sale, and it is roasted and shipped on the same day. And all that you would purchase helps the Fresh Catholic ministry. We also have a blog. We have Fresh Catholic comics that my husband Simon created. And let's see, let me check my notes and see what else we have. Oh my gosh, we have Fresh Catholic courses with educator Charles Merritt. We have different series on there. We have the Hail Mary, the Our Father, the series on sin, series on angels. We have a free downloadable book on sin. And if you would like a hardcover version, you can order it on the website. Oh my goodness, look at all that. Let me switch pages here. I want to make sure I'm getting everything because I'll be so sad if I miss something. We also are on social media, Instagram and Facebook at Fresh Catholic. I do little videos every day. Please check those out. I would love it. Give me 5 stars. And you can also support us by becoming a Patreon. You just go to our website, bottom left corner, there's a Patreon icon. Click it. It'll be so great. We will really appreciate it. Or you can just become a sponsor. Just call me up and say, hey, Lori, we want to hand you over some money for Fresh Catholic. Oh my goodness. Do you really? Thank you. Just prayers answered. Okay. Thank you for listening. And now, welcome, Teresa Nelson.
Thank you.
Shoot, that was a lot. Kind of off the top of my head. I'm getting better and better at that. So I do appreciate you allowing me to hijack you and bring you here today. But I think you're very excited because you have a new role and job, and I think that's great at our church.
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely not something that I ever would have planned for myself. But the Spirit has led me here, and I'm so grateful and so blessed and excited.
I know, I'm excited too. I think the team of you two ladies is a magical team.
It's been fun.
I think you can definitely tell that the Spirit had something to do with that. You can tell that God had this planned. And I think that's beautiful that you said yes. Much like our Blessed Mother, we have to learn to say yes. You know, even if you're a little hesitant, or even if it's something where you're like, I don't know, do I have time for this? I don't know. Is this going to work out? Am I going to do okay? Am I going to be a failure? Am I going to be, how's it going to work? Am I going to let people down? But you have to kind of do what the Blessed Mother did and say yes.
Right.
And let God handle it.
Right. Yeah. And I think a lot of us feel that way, where we feel like we're not good enough, or am I worthy of being able to do this? But just surrendering that to God and going, okay, if you put me here, you're going to guide me through this.
Right. And we know, and we also know that He is with us. I feel that very same way when I'm starting to go into something and I think, I don't know, I'm feeling a little stressed out. And I'd say, please hold my hand, Lord, and please walk in front of me and I'll follow you, you know. So I think that's beautiful. So before we get too deep, I have some questions for you about your new role and about this program. Can you please tell us what your background is and also your family dynamic so people can get a sense of who you are?
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up here in Ventura, and I have been a member of Our Lady of the Assumption parish ever since I was born.
Oh.
So I've grown up in the church, and, you know, my grandparents lived right behind the church. And so when my parents would drop us off there so they could go to work, we would walk over to church every morning for 6:30 Mass before school. And we'd pray together, and it was just such a phenomenal start to my life. I went to Our Lady of the Assumption parish for my grade school, and there the principal, she was so sweet, but she really helped me when I was feeling alone or outcast, and so because of that, I wanted to be either a teacher or a nun when I grow. So I kind of feel like I get a little bit of both with this new role. It's like, okay, I get that faith-based, but I'm also still in teaching. I went to St. Bonaventure High School. So all three of those, the church, the parish school, and St. Bonaventure, if you're not familiar with our area, they're all sharing one parking lot and very connected. And so this whole community has been a part of my life from the beginning.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew you were very involved in the church, I can tell, but I didn't know that you've been there like your whole life. That's beautiful.
Yeah. But it didn't stay that way. So then when I went to college, I think this happens quite often, is that I was completely what I thought at the time was, because I was sheltered my whole life. I think that now looking back on it, it wasn't that I was sheltered my whole life and that's why I had this culture shock, but what it was that I had turned away from Christ. And I had lost that faith community. And so I had this huge God-sized hole that I was trying to fill with anything but God.
Right.
And so then at one point in my adult life, I said, okay, I realize what's happened. I'm separated from God, and, I want to get back there. But how do I get back to this childlike faith that I had? And so I just prayed to God, okay, I'm going to fake it till I make it. And I just showed up for church and, went through the motions. And then it wasn't until I met my husband that then, my husband wasn't Catholic. And so when we were newly dating, I said, hey, do you want to go to church with me? And I was expecting a no. But he said, yeah, let's go. So he started going to church with me. And he ended up, as we became more serious in our relationship, said, I want to become Catholic. And we went through the OCIA program. And it was there that I met Christ. It was there that I had my first adult relationship with Christ. And it was so, so powerful. And what's interesting is that I entered into that program thinking, well, I'm here to support my husband. Why do I have to go to all of these sessions together with him? And actually, he was in Montana at the time. And so I would go in person. Deacon Don, who was in charge of the program, would record the sessions, and then Chuck and I would talk about them later. And so when we, by going through that, I thought, what am I going to get out of this? I had, my catechism all the way from kindergarten through 12th grade. I know it all. I don't need this. This isn't for me. Mm-hmm. But oh boy, I think that God looked at me then and was just laughing. And it just that program made me into a minister. It led me into being active in my church and building that domestic home within my own family.
Beautiful. That is really interesting because that is very similar about what Simon and I had a very similar story.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't raised in any religion. I went to RCIA. He came with me to be my sponsor, but he was turned away from the church. But then I believe that's where he found Christ again, like more deep. And it was like I always joke and say God got a twofer because he got me and he got Simon back. But I just really find that fascinating when people turn away. And I do believe it's high school and college. It seems like that's the time. And then I loved what you just said about there's this Jesus-size hole, and you're filling it with whatever you can, but it's not working. And you need to turn back and get actual Jesus back in that Jesus hole.
Right.
And it's really, I'm a visual person, and I'm envisioning that. And it's much like when you eat a bunch of junk food and you're trying to fill yourself up and you don't feel good, and you are, throwing it up, and it's just, you feel yucky all the time. And then when you get real rich food that is really quality, you feel so much better. And it's like, that's why we need to receive the sacrament so that we can be filled with the Lord, But you leave, and I just appreciate what you just said because it just really reminds me of Simon and I. And I think that's a story with a lot of people. And we have to remember God knows when he wants to bring you back. Mm-hmm. And, when you venture off, not you necessarily, but when people venture off, and like you said, I knew it all. I didn't need to be, that's such a typical attitude and statement. Mm-hmm. And then God brings us back or to the faith, like in my case, brought me to the faith when he knew it was going to stick and be the most meaningful.
Absolutely. Right.
And then look what it does. It's just like he knows when, because he knows best, and then you're just flourishing with it. So then, of course, your marriage is going to flourish with it, and then your children are going to flourish. And so that's beautiful. I love that story.
Yeah. And I feel like if I didn't go through that darkness, if I didn't go through that separation, I don't know that I would appreciate what I have now and the beauty of all of it.
Right.
So it's a wonderful thing. Other than that, I have been an educator for the past 14 years.
Oh, wow.
I worked at St. Bonaventure High School and then also at Villanova Preparatory School. So
Simon went to Villanova.
Oh, it's so high.
Oh, we live in such a small area.
And so being there and being a part of the Catholic community has been wonderful. And I teach biology or I taught biology. It's recent that I just stepped away like the last couple of weeks. It's a little bittersweet.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so when, in teaching, with teaching biology specifically, looking at every aspect of our human systems and even ecologically, looking at every aspect of that, from the microscopic level to, the big, out in space level.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the presence of God the deeper and deeper you get into it.
Interesting.
It's fascinating because I had a conversation once with Bishop Barron, mm-hmm. and Bishop Barron said, young Catholics are leaving the church, and the number one reason that they give is science. And so he said, either they don't understand their faith, or they don't understand science, or they don't understand both.
Right.
And for me, in my experience, and what I've been able to share with my students working in Catholic schools, is being able to show them how all of these intricacies have this beautiful design by the greatest engineer there ever was, which is God.
Right.
And so with that, my faith, continued to build and build. And then Father Leon and Deacon Don, our pastor and pastoral associate, they came up to me during Bible camp and they said, "Hey, I think that you would be a good fit for this." And so this was just a couple of weeks ago. So I'm brand new at being the director of family faith formation.
That is so exciting.
Yeah. But I think having my teaching experience is going to help with understanding how it all works, because it is education,
Right.
in a sense, but more importantly, it's this deep relationship with our Lord that I get to share with them.
Right. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So tell me about what your family dynamics are. Like, you were raised obviously in Ventura, and you have a mom and dad. I know your mom and dad.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Mimi and Mondo.
Yeah, Mimi and Mondo. How cute is that? It's like a little cartoon characters or something. It's so cute. I love them. Anyway, and then were you raised with siblings?
Yes. So I'm the fourth of 5 kids. I was the first girl, so I have been the princess of the family.
Oh.
And my grandparents, as I said before, were, just around the corner from the church. And so they were like a second set of parents to me. With both of my parents working, they really did a lot in my family to help us.
That's nice. And then what? And then now you're married, like you said, and you have 2 children. So cute.
They are.
And it's Rosie and CJ.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I said it wrong the other day, but they're so cute.
They are. Yeah.
They're adorable.
I love them. So CJ is our youngest, and he's almost 3. And then Rosie is almost 6.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah. We sit behind you sometimes in Mass, and I'm watching how well behaved they are, but anyway, good job.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
You never know who's watching, my mother used to say. Anyway, so tell us so let's see, you are the director of family faith formation, and this used to be just recently was referred to as religious ed, correct? But they changed it.
So the role that I have, more people would probably be familiar with Director of Religious Education, or the DRE. But just recently, as of a couple of years ago, our parish switched to creating this family dynamic to the religious education. And so they changed the name of the director to focus on the aspect of incorporating the family in the religious education.
Right. And I think that's really smart. You and I talked in our pre-interview about this, and I realized that it sounds to me like in the past, families would basically drop their kids off to take these classes, pick them up. They weren't really sure what they were learning, how they were learning, if they were learning. And then when they would get home, I don't know how they would end up, carrying it on from there if they don't know what's going on, really. And then what I've understood is that a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people, the goal is to get your child their first Holy Communion, and then they kind of go through that whole thing, and then nobody's coming back to church. So it needs to be it's a part of now this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing I love about the Catholic faith is I don't just go to church on Sunday, and then the rest of the week I'm not thinking about it, or I only go on the holidays. Mm-hmm. It's a lifestyle to be Catholic. It's very important to receive the sacraments and to be a participant and all those things. So I think it's really a smart idea to include the family and have them more involved, so that it will not just for the child, but it'll rub off on the whole entire family.
Right.
Because it should be a family thing you're doing. It's not just, okay, little Johnny and little Susie are going to do this and we're going to stay home. No. Come.
Yeah, right.
Come join us.
Right. And I don't want to knock down, the programs where they just have children
Right.
there. But I do see the benefit in having family faith formation. So the parents are the primary catechist. So the catechist is going to be the person teaching the faith. Parents are the primary catechist. And if they don't feel confident or empowered in order to be able to teach their faith to their children, then they're not going to be able to reach their own goals.
Right.
So through this program, the idea is that no matter where you are in your faith journey, if you're a K through 12, a religious school or Catholic school experience, and you think you know it all, like I was, then you can, through this program, find that there are still ways for you to grow. And the goal of this program is to help the entire family to grow closer to God.
Right.
And so it will help the parents to be able to continue those conversations at home,
Right.
help them to incorporate a Catholic home life, setting up maybe like a little altar in their family, their family home.
I love that.
Or maybe it's coloring pages for the different saints on the different days that we celebrate the saints. Simple little things that some families will do, but they gain those things through their own family traditions. They'll be able to share it through this program.
Right.
And then other families find it easier to be able to incorporate Christ through their lives.
Right. And also, I agree with you, not to knock down if other churches are, just doing the religious ed and aren't to this point yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the reasons I wanted to do this episode was to encourage other parishes to take this route.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important, again, not just for the children, but for the parents. And much of the time here at Fresh Catholic, we talk a lot about people who were raised in the faith who might not know why they're doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this podcast, we're hoping gives people, and also our courses that we have, are giving people the resources to be able to learn things without having to ask and feel shame or feel like I should know this. I've been raised in the Catholic faith, but I don't know these answers. They can go to our website. They can see these courses, hear these courses, and learn. And I feel that's the same way with this group, is that the parents can be there. Like, let's say they're like, oh, we're going to take little Susie and we know all of it, but we're going to take you because we want to be with you. But secretly they're going, oh, thank heaven, because now I'm going to learn more. It's like when Simon went to RCIA with me, he knew a lot, but there was things he said he'd never heard before. Mm-hmm. And if he had heard them, he didn't know why he was doing them. Right. So it's like, that's a big part of this, not just for our children, but for us as adults. Mm-hmm. So I think, it's encouraging maybe other parishes to look into this same idea.
Right.
It might be something that they're interested in.
Right.
They might not even know it's a thing. I don't know. I don't know what people know. So I just think that's really wonderful. So what should parents and children expect and look forward to when they come into this program?
So the families that are entering into my program through Family Faith Formation are going to be 1st through 5th graders who are seeking to receive the sacraments of reconciliation and First Holy Communion.
So they've all been baptized.
They've all been baptized.
Okay.
If they're not, we do have ways of working with them to go through an OCIA process in addition to our Family Faith Formation.
And they could be doing that in tandem.
Yes.
Okay. That's great. Okay.
Yeah. And so they'll come in, and what's really neat is, and my nieces are doing this right now, is although they're different ages, they can enter into the program and then receive their sacraments together.
Oh,
that's a really neat thing, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful thing. You get to celebrate as a family together. And so the families will come, and so they'll come every week. They'll choose a day that they're going to come. We offer classes twice a week, and basically they're just a copy of each of the previous class. And so they'll come there one day a week, and the families will grow together. The concept is circles, not rows.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because we want to encourage those family conversations. We want to encourage those side talk conversations that are going to be the real way to incorporate our faith and to make it real and to have a community that shares the same values and belief systems, which is really hard.
Right.
Because when you're out there in the secular world, it's not easy to find other people who share your faith.
Right. And that's how I feel as an adult. When I came into the Catholic faith, that's the one of the many reasons I love it so much, is I feel like no matter where I am, if I hear somebody's Catholic, I think, oh, we're in the same, like, I just felt secure in that. Like, oh, I know that I can talk about God and not get slammed down or get a dirty look or whatever, It's like we have something in common we could talk about.
Yeah.
That's beautiful and positive and wonderful. I mean, I think that's great. I think that would be the same for these children. That's
absolutely. So also what to expect, I think a lot of people will enter into the program with the anticipation of receiving their sacraments. But as you were mentioning before, that's not the bigger concept here. The bigger concept is we want them to grow in their faith. We want them to grow in their relationship and love for Christ. And along the way, we're going to teach you some catechism. We're going to teach you, the teachings of the church and why we believe those things. And we'll teach you about the sacraments that you're going to receive. But you're going to grow in your relationship with God, and you're going to build that faith community, just like the early church. The way that they learned about and experienced faith was by coming together, sharing a meal together, talking about, their witness to Christ.
right. Also, I feel that as beautiful and meaningful and wonderful as the holidays and the Mass are beautiful and vital, I think what's really important is the all day, every day learning what we're doing and why we're doing it, and loving what we're doing and understanding it.
Yeah.
Because being Catholic is more than going to Sunday Mass. That's a big part, very important, vital part. But they need to learn, I mean, it's just such a big part of my day and my life that, like I said, that makes you love the Lord even more when you want to be around like-minded people, or you want to receive the sacraments, serve the Lord, serve others. Yeah, I think that's amazing.
And it just makes it easier to raise your children in the faith when they have friends and they're excited to go see their friends and they want to be there. They're having fun. They're enjoying learning about God and feeling comfortable and confident to be able to talk about God.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So hang on, I gotta switch pages for a second. I think we pretty much talked about this, but if there's anything else you want to say about why this program, not just this program, just religious ed in general, and this particular way we're doing this program, how and why is this really important to families?
I think the real big mission is to equip the families to share their love for God with each other and with other families. And so in doing that, you're not going to see oh, okay, I'm going to make this, receive the sacrament. Check, done. I'll see you at confirmation.
Right.
And so I think the idea within this is let's build something where people want to be, where families want to be.
Right.
And so a little teaser is that OLA is currently working on a program, not just for the families that are receiving sacraments, but any family to feel like they have a home and a place and to continue to learn about our faith. Because that's faith, right? It's a mystery, and it's something that is unfolded over time. It's not something that you can say, oh, here's a 2-year program and you're done, you know it all.
Well, and I think that's also really important that you mention. I love that idea of even if you have all your sacraments, I love the fact of giving people things to do together. Like when we have all these different ministries, we have many, I don't even know how many in our church. And I know that would vary within different parishes, but I think it's important to have different ministries where you can feel like you can join something and that you're looking forward to going to that. And again, it's not just going to Mass and checking off that box. There's more to it. I know at our church, we had a hobbies group, all these hobbies. I don't know how that's going. I know there's some of them still going. I thought that was a great idea. And then we'll do events. And I think it's great because that's how it should be. Now, see, I wasn't raised doing that. So a lot of people that have been raised going to church say, well, we always have functions. We're always doing these events. That's important. It's important to look forward to things and to be, celebrating, because I'm big on celebrations. I just think that's really great. I have a question. When you're talking about the circular tables,
Right.
and you were saying the families are together. If I was the mom of a family and I had 5 kids and it's the dad, myself, and the children, and we're sitting at our table. So we're interacting and doing projects together as a family. We're not like worried about what the other families are doing necessarily. We're needing to interact with each other more than that. Is that
It could be both. I think if there's, a large family, then they may be able to fulfill and, talk to each other and take up the conversation. I don't know that
I know what
saying that correctly. Yes. And so what we would do normally is to have a couple of families together at one table.
Okay.
And that way you can encourage, like I said, those side conversations.
Well, and
Important.
I think when we have groups that meet and we do a lot of faith sharing, I think that's beautiful and wonderful. Simon and I went to a marriage retreat that Deacon Don and his team put on. But what I liked was it was he and I were the team, and we were working on everything together. It was about us as a couple. It wasn't about us interacting with other people. We were all there together, and it was a great, beautiful experience to be with a bunch of other couples. But I liked it that it was, when I found that out, I thought, oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
And so I would think like within the family, it gives you that time that maybe when you get home, you don't do those things. So it's good that you're doing them, in a structured situation and opening up. I think that's great. So I just wanted to kind of see if that's what you meant.
Yeah. I think both. I think there's going to be a component of let's talk to the family and get to know the family better within the one family unit, but then also let's collaborate with other families and build that community.
Right.
So it's a dual.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. What are your hopes and dreams for your first year of doing this? Because I have a feeling she's going to have a long, I don't want to call it a job. You're going to have a long, beautiful relationship in this. So I'm just wondering, like, for your first year, what is, when does it end? It goes till June?
May.
Till May. So in May, what are you hoping you're going to have experienced?
First of all, to just walk through it for 1 year. That will be good. But I really hope that by the end of this, and continuing on in the future, that the families feel welcome. And starting with this program, but also continuing to all families. I mean, when I bring my children to church, sometimes I'm sitting there sweating because I'm having to contain them or chase them or, try to work with them and their needs. And it's hard. And I know that there are other families out there that won't come to church because, my kids can't sit through it. It's okay. And if we build this family aspect and this family community and extend it beyond the walls of just this 2-year program, now we're going to have families who feel comfortable coming. We're going to have more families that are there. And so then you're going to see more kids that are needing their own needs, and then the church can help meet those needs.
Right.
One of the things that we're working on is building these little bags for toddlers.
Beautiful.
And so the families can walk in, pick up a bag, a mass bag, and then the toddlers can use, those age-appropriate books or coloring sheets, whatever it may be, little lacing toys or something like that, where they can still be a participant in the Mass at their own level.
Right.
And so, can I plug it? I'd like to donate to that. If you have any used items that your children have outgrown that you think would be great for this, or if you would like to donate for, a new item, you can bring those to the church rectory where I can pick them up and create these bags.
Well, and that's also a good, again, encouragement to other parishes is I think that is a great idea to have something for the children to do. Also, I've noticed at our church, I don't know if all Catholic churches are like this, but in our particular church, I feel like we never skip a beat in the church. So if kids are screaming, I know it upsets some people. It's not that you should have your child screaming in church. Go outside. We have the speakers turned on outside so moms and dads can go outside with their children if they're stressed and still be listening to the mass. But for the most part, I think the children in our church, they're very welcome. I know when I've gone to other churches before I was Catholic, I didn't feel that same way. I think the children are welcome. They're all children of God. This is how we get them used to coming. And I have to say, there's no better behaved children than children who've learned to sit through Catholic Mass, through an hour-long Mass. They can sit through anything because they're so used to sitting through an hour-long Mass. I just have noticed that. It's like you can tell who the Catholic kids are. I don't know. I just noticed. Also the kids that genuflect at the movie theater, oh, I see. You're so devout. No, I catch myself doing stuff. It's like, oops, sorry, that's okay. And it's a good lesson. People think, oh, is that what we're doing now when we go to a movie theater? We have to do this little dip thing. Anyway, you never know. Anyway, okay, so I think that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. So, with this whole dynamic, my goals are just to make the families feel like this is a space where they can enjoy being. It's a space where they're welcome. It's a space where they can feel nourished and supported. And so, especially with the Family Faith Formation program, we can support and empower the parents to then be their primary catechist in the home.
Right.
And continue that faith sharing and faith building all throughout their family's time.
Right. I think that's amazing. So where and when can people sign up for this program? And again, we're talking about our parish in Ventura, California, but at this time of year, this is when people are signing their children up for religious education, correct?
Right.
So my suggestion, she's going to let us know how people in our local area can sign up, but if I would imagine you just contact your local parish, ask when you can sign your children up, and then maybe suggest to them, say, hey, have you ever thought about doing family faith formation? And see what they say. You never know. So how can people sign up at our parish?
So at our parish, registration is live. And right now there's a little bit of a discount until August 25th. So take advantage. And so you can go on to our parish website, which is olaventura.com. And you'll go to Family Faith Formation, where then you'll find the link to be able to register.
So we'll put the link to that on the show notes for this, and so that'll be great. Do you know how many people you have signed up so far?
I don't.
Or
They're
have rolling in signed up?
Oh no, they've been trickling in. I've been getting about 1 to 2 emails a day notifying me that we've got a new registration.
Well, and I know school is going back sooner than normal. I feel, but. So school's starting back. This is the time of year where your children are signing up for religious education or sports. Choose religious education over sports. Sports are great, whatever, but this is something you need all day, every day, like air and water. So to be really, submerged in your faith and know what you're doing and fill that hole up in your heart with the hole that needs to be, yes, that Jesus needs to fill it up. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I let you go? Because you're so busy. Oh my gosh, she's given us so much time.
I suppose I should say when we start, our first day is scheduled for September 8th. So sign up now and we'll get going. And I just really pray that all of our families feel welcome at Our Lady of the Assumption. And if there's something I can do to help support you and make you feel more empowered to come to Mass or to teach your faith at home, please let me know and I'd be happy to help you. Not that I'm the expert, I'm learning myself, but we as a church community are happy to work with you.
Right. And that's the thing I know at our church, I hope at other churches, is if I don't have the answer to something, because I'm on staff there, if I don't have an answer to something, I can get an answer. And I'll say to somebody, oh, let me find out for you, and I will be happy to help you. So I encourage other parishes to have that same attitude. So, well, I appreciate you coming today. This has been smooth and easy. What do you think, Simon Balderas behind the camera? Giving us the nod. Okay. Well, I thank you so much for coming. I wish you the best of luck. I know you're going to be great. I can't wait to talk to Carolyn next week so we can see, so my audience can see the dynamic you guys have.
Yes. And partner in faith.
Your partner in faith and in crime, but no. Anyway, no crime here. But anyway, I do appreciate your time because I know you're a busy lady.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best. And let me know if there's anything I can do to help you. I don't know what I can do, but you can always ask me. And thank you for coming today.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Bye.